In St. Mary's, Newfoundland, the town will no longer reek of rotten fish sauce. That's the headline, and for the 300 people who live in this small community on the southeastern coast of Newfoundland, Canada, it is a long-awaited relief. For more than 20 years, the smell has been a daily fact of life. Mayor Stephen Ryan, who has served 2 terms and runs a supermarket when he's not volunteering as mayor, puts it bluntly: take the worst rotten fish you've ever smelled in your life and multiply it by 100. The source of the stench is the Atlantic Seafood Sauce Company plant, built in 1989 and 1990. It stopped operating in the 2000s after Canadian food inspection authorities shut it down. What they left behind were 150 tanks, each holding 3,000 gallons of fish sauce. Those vats have sat there for over 2 decades, their contents fermenting, and fish sauce does not get better with age. Residents have been playing a kind of daily lottery. Some days the wind carries the odor past the school playground, past the town hall, past the post office, other days the air is clear. A few years ago a plan was hatched to dump the tanks into the ocean, and 40 of them were actually removed before the federal government put a halt to it. That left 110 tanks still sitting there. Then the situation deteriorated. Over the last 10 to 15 years parts of the plant's roof blew open, and at the start of this year a major storm damaged some of the walls. With less barrier between the sludge and the town, the smell grew worse. Efforts to fix the problem stalled. The sauce company was out of business and couldn't do it. As Mayor Ryan says, nobody wanted to take ownership, and nobody knew what that ownership would consist of. Finally, a year ago, the town government stepped in with a verbal commitment from the province to supply 1.7 million Canadian dollars, that's about 1.2 million US dollars. The cleanup got underway on Tuesday. First, the tanks are cut open and the fish sauce, really more like fish sludge at this point, leaks onto the floor. Peat moss is added to absorb and solidify the goop. Then it will be trucked to a waste disposal area, sealed in rubber liners and buried in the ground. The waste will fill about 200 trucks in all, and the process is expected to take 2 to 3 months. Mayor Ryan, who is 55, calls the beginning of the cleanup very rewarding, almost like a crusade, and notes that people said it would never get done. And in what must be one of the more unlikely statements ever made by a public official, Newfoundland's Environment Minister, Chris Tibbs, declared, "We couldn't be more proud than to be standing here today and watching this fish sauce leave this community." That's the story from St. Mary's. Thanks for listening.